Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Konsolute, a podcast that aims to discuss exciting and engaging IT trends with individuals working in the IT sector. To kick off our first series, I am delighted to say that we will be diving into the world of post-pandemic working and picking apart the pros and cons of the hybrid workforce. For our first episode, we are being joined by Sophie from Pure Technology Group, a leading provider of IT services and solutions to UK enterprise and public sector organisations. Sophie is a Microsoft Cloud consultant with a wealth of knowledge in helping organisations of all sizes digitalise and adapt to the new demands posed by remote working. Sophie is a force of positivity and believes that the challenges faced by workplaces have the potential to improve employee well-being and productivity. Her enthusiasm for cloud solutions is contagious, and it was a pleasure to talk with her in our first episode of Conversations with Konsolute. So, without further ado, let's start listening to that chat. Sophie, hi, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It's super exciting to have you on, and I know that we've had some interesting conversations in the past about this kind of stuff, so it's good to get it on the record. And get a podcast going. But so how important do you think collaborative technology is in 2021?
I think collaborative working and technology is massively important anyway, but I think especially in 2021, it's become more of a priority to all businesses, and it's something that I think businesses have thought more about. Obviously, with working from home over the past year and now moving into more of a hybrid working environment, it has been harder to communicate and collaborate together. I've always been quite traditional in the sense that I really like to have face-to-face meetings where you can bounce ideas off one another, come together. I like doing mind maps and getting a whiteboard out. And I think me especially, I've had to learn and adapt to the new ways of working virtually and through Teams. And I think the only way organisations have been able to do that and be successful in that is through technology. I don't know if you agree.
No, I completely agree. And what you were saying about kind of those old school ways of working, mind maps, brainstorming, that's how I love to come up with ideas. And I think that that's a really natural, organic way of developing business. So the fact that, technology has stepped in and gone, hey, we've got ways of, creating mind maps and collaborating in Teams group calls. And we've even got things, where you can have live translation going on. So much accessibility for deaf people now, where you've got, live sign language going on. So there is that. And it's really accelerated.
Yeah, and I think even the more simpler things, video calls and team calls never used to be a thing before.
No, I know.
I remember, way back when, which seems so long ago now, if I was to go on a client meeting and they'd be like, oh, well, it never used to be a thing. Oh, should we video call? I'd just be like, what do you mean? Let's just grab a coffee. Let's just, I'll come to your office, whatever. So I think now that's just the absolute norm, and people are thinking, well, we can work from home, we can save time, we can, just have a Teams meeting, and it's just as productive, just as successful. It's completely done a flip. And I mean, I still very much do like, the face-to-face stuff, but I also do now 100% appreciate, and I can see the value add of all these extra things that you can do from anywhere.
And what you were saying about, how you would always just assume that it'd be a coffee and a chat, or like, let's go and meet face to face. What these video calls have done, really, I don't know if you found this, but productivity is just shot up, because suddenly that kind of, I need half an hour to get to the meeting, I need half an hour afterwards, all of that's gone. I mean, in some ways you could see it as a small negative, where people are definitely being pushed to work that bit harder. You're in back-to-back calls sometimes. And you don't get that, old school thing of like traveling across town to your restaurant for your lunch meeting. But in general, I think that productivity is just shot up because of it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, although you're in back-to-back meetings and you are working that little bit harder, because you have the flexibility of working from home, I don't think you feel it as much.
Yeah, no, totally agree. You don't get that burnout in the same way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, leading on from that, how do you think the demand for hybrid working has changed? I'm guessing you feel like it's just shot through the roof as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm seeing it, you look on LinkedIn, you look articles, things like that, and you're seeing so many businesses already. And I think especially this week, we've kind of spoke about the return to the office and things like that. And I don't think, and especially when I've been speaking to clients, many businesses are doing the full working, in the office from yesterday. But yeah, I think, because of hybrid working, it wasn't as common as what it is now for a fact. And I think because we've been able to do it and adapt quickly, businesses are open to having that sort of flexible hybrid working. And I mean, it's not even just hybrid, but I think just more flexibility. I used to go to the gym in the morning. Well, I still do. Go to the gym in the morning if I work from home. I can have my breakfast, I can have all this, and I might have little breaks, but I still then might be working till 6, 7, or I'll get into bed and do a couple of hours. And you don't feel, because you haven't, necessarily been in the office all day, and you feel like you need to come home and relax. I do feel that you do work for longer, and like what you said, productivity is higher. I think because businesses have had to adapt quickly to ensure that they're keeping the businesses afloat, and as soon as COVID hit and they were like, oh God, what we're going to do? We're never going to be able to do it. The fact that now it's actually a positive and it's worked, I think it's become the normal, and I think it's not even a question as to whether can we or can we not. I think most businesses have just said, yeah.
Yeah, and I also think it's a real selling point. So if you are looking for a new job and you're looking for a company, if you approach a company and they say, no, we want you in 5 days a week, because I know that there are some of the big five, you've got Goldman Sachs that have said, no, we want you all back in. I think that that's going to be detrimental. And I think people that are flexible and they can see that this is the future, it's actually going to help them attract the top talent, because the reality is, especially in the tech industry that we're in, I don't think that the top talent, the top architects, they don't want to be in the office every day. We work in a sector where everyone's like pretty relaxed. They don't like, getting on the shirt and jacket and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's it as well. But someone who might be really technical, who you might not even work locally to where you are, and because of hybrid working now, they can work from anywhere in the world. It's been proven that it doesn't make a difference at all. So, I mean, I used to I was in IT recruitment before working at Pure Technology, but even now having the recruitment sort of sector within my network in LinkedIn, I see all the time people posting job adverts and new ways of working and employee benefits, and all of it is working from home. I know for a fact if I was still in recruitment now and there was clients saying, we want everyone in the office, I'd actually be questioning that and saying, are you sure? Because that is now going to be there's so many people that have just got used to working from home now.
Yeah. I just want to play devil's advocate for a moment, because I know that when I first asked this question, one of the first things you said was, I feel like I work for longer, or it's, basically you're not working 9 till 5 anymore. You might have a little half hour here and there in the day, but you see yourself working into the evening sometimes, maybe 7, 8 o'clock at night. Do you think that it's harder to distinguish between, the on and off, and you don't get to leave the office anymore? So it's harder to switch off possibly. And, I know that we're going to get on to talking about Microsoft Viva and insights and all of that good stuff and looking after your employees holistically. But what do you think about that in terms of, hybrid working?
I mean, I'm very lucky because Pure Technology, they let me work from home or in the office, whatever I feel. So I normally do a couple of days from home, then I work in the office. Me personally, I've sort of taught myself to be able to switch off. So, I'll do something on an evening, or I'll, have a pamper night, or I'll go to the gym and I'll I'll not look at my laptop then, and I'll not look at my emails and whatever else. And I think a couple of years ago, if you'd have asked me, I probably would have found it quite difficult. But I think, like probably many others, I find it quite easy to switch off. So no, I don't, and I do feel, you know, more productive and more in control. I've got more of a routine, I think.
Yeah, no, overall, I do agree. And I do feel like that burnout, the kind of feeling, you don't get it in the same way. And it's a really nice mixture of, like we say, I think that full-time at home, it has its negatives, full-time in the office as equally, but that hybrid thing, it's like a lovely balance, isn't it?
Yeah, completely agree.
So next question. Do you see the shift in working culture as a positive? I mean, I know we've spoken just now about some of the positives, but are there any others that spring to mind?
Yeah, I massively see it as a positive. I think having the flexibility for you to have more of a work-life balance, like I said, allows you to create more of a routine. I think for me especially, it's reduced how stressed I feel. You know, like I said, I'll go to the gym in the morning, but not only that, I mean, we normally have like a 15-minute break at 10:30, and an hour 12:30 till 1:30, and another 15-minute break at 3:30. And even though I am at home, I do stick to that just because that helps me. I know there's other people who don't and that find it easy to just, you know, have a little break, come back. But I just like a set timing. But in that time, you know, I might put the washing on or do the dishes or just little chores that, you know, normally you get Saturday and think, oh, I haven't done anything. And then you spend your Saturday sort of doing all your jobs, and then by the time you know it, it's Monday again. But I just think that's in myself made me feel more organised. It's made me feel happy within myself, and just more on top of things.
Yeah, no, completely.
So I do think it's a positive. I mean, in terms of negatives, I know that it's been hard for a lot of people, you know, with mental health and not feeling in a community, or especially when people have just started a new organisation, the onboarding, and just not really feeling as well as what you would do if you actually went in. But I do think with obviously the tools that we're going to be talking about and Viva and Teams, I do think that has had a massive effect on helping that.
No, completely. And like on a wider scale as well, I just think, you know, if you were previously someone limited by, you know, disability or location, or, you know, even your role within the family, if you're a full-time parent, it's just blown that wide open. You know, it's basically made workforces more diverse, because you have now got people that could previously not access a physical office who can now work for you. And like, I think you can't underestimate the importance of diversity, because as soon as you have that kind of colourful spectrum of employees, you're getting so many, you know, what we're talking about at the beginning about brainstorming and new ideas, you're getting so many different ideas coming at you. You're going to come up with better, stronger concepts that are more suited to, you know, the future and the world of work that we're kind of entering into. And also, I know that it's helping to close the gender pay gap. It's just decreasing discrimination, and just essentially all of those things fall under the umbrella of driving equality. So that's something that I'm here for.
Yeah,
as well.
100%. Me too. I'm all for that.
Yeah. Right. Moving on. So obviously you have lots of Microsoft partners that you speak with. So in terms of IT leaders, how do you feel that they are prioritizing digital communication and collaboration, and how exactly are they doing that?
So I think because a lot of people are working from home, and the way we do collaborate and work together, it has changed. But I do think there has been a lot of investment, and I've seen a lot of investment, well, especially within Teams, but within the tools, like because of the tools in Microsoft 365. So the SharePoint, Teams again, and I think they all drive communication and collaboration. I mean, if you just look at the last year and how much Teams has grown in itself, but what is it now, like 47 million, is it, that have Teams or something like that? I'm not
huge.
I'm not 100% sure, but it's just, I don't speak to one IT leader or business that doesn't have it and that hasn't invested in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like a base now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there's a platform like it. And because Microsoft are continuously adapting and continuously growing this with other products, I just think it can only get better. And like you said, it's one of the strongest platforms out there for collaboration and communication. And I think now it's a really good tool for employee engagement and actually monitoring and getting all the analytics and the research behind it, so that, and you should always, trust your employees at home and things like that, but just as a proof that it's actually working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, doing a small digression, I guess, as well, like some of the main things that have come up in the past year, aside from the pandemic, have been kind of the state of the natural world and the environment and the importance of looking after the environment, protecting the planet.
Yeah.
And I know that this is digressing, but I feel like IT leaders are now under increasing pressure, both internally and externally, to kind of gain that B Corp certification, look like they are doing more for the environment, trying to, all of those things, reduce their carbon footprint. And I think in prioritizing digital communication, yes, you're improving your employee experience and you're improving collaboration, but you're also just by default doing your bit for the environment, because suddenly people aren't traveling to the office and you are reducing paper trails because everything is digital. So it just feels like such a win in so many ways. And just wanted to touch on that environment point because I feel like it's so irrelevant at the moment.
I didn't even think of that, to be honest, but you're completely right. And as well, it's also helping with, like you've said it, diversity and equality, having the opportunity to bring on anyone from anywhere within the
hear voices that you wouldn't have heard necessarily.
100%. I just think there's a lot of things we can take as a positive from the year and a half that we've had. And I do think that from the IT leaders that I speak to, I do think they are prioritising this. They have a lot of things on, obviously, and it's very far and few between, but I do think they've adapted with it really well and are driving this forward and do want to learn about it, and do want to try and make the most out of the Microsoft 365 platform and the tools available to them.
Yeah. Did you encounter much resistance?
No, I mean, not really, to be honest. But I just think it's more. I mean, when I speak to clients and stuff, it's them actually wanting to be educated and advised, and just so they can help other employees, or just so we can help train someone within the business, who has an interest in it, or may be able to then onboard people and show them, and just make sure. I think, obviously, and this is a bit of going off track a little bit, but security is a massive thing now as well. With people working from home and protecting your data and all that sort of stuff. So I think the more educated IT leaders are, and the more that they know what's going on, especially within Teams and emails and SharePoint and things like that, I think the better, to be honest.
So it's almost like that idea of IT leaders are 100% prioritizing collaboration digitally, but with the caveat that, hey, as long as it's super secure, as long as I know that my data is staying within my tenancy, all of that stuff. I hear that as well. It's like, security is obviously a big worry when it comes to the cloud, because it's kind of unknown territory for so many people.
100%.
People haven't done it before.
100%.
Okay, last question. And how would you say? So I know that we've touched on Microsoft Viva, haven't we? And it's a super exciting new product that's been kind of launched in stages throughout the first couple of quarters this year. But how do you think that in particular this product is addressing better collaboration? And we can probably essentially break that down into, connections, learning, insights, topics, but go for it. Hit me with some of your ideas.
So I watched a few videos on this as well at the Inspire event, and I do think it's massively interesting. I think it's another great tool for bringing people together. I think, in my opinion, it'll be great for onboarding new starters, and I've been doing a lot of research into sort of companies having to, make redundancies, downscale, that sort of thing, but then now upscaling and at quite a fast rate. So many people are looking for, just recruiting within the team and they're wanting to grow now. So I think this will be a great tool for onboarding them. With Viva Learning and Viva Topics, I think it'll just be good to have everything in one place, and it's almost just like a template as a sort, but that people can go in and edit and all that sort of stuff. But I think the Microsoft Viva with the teams together are just a match made in heaven, to be honest. And I think employees will feel more connected to one another, and from wherever they are. I think it goes back, doesn't it, to the point of this podcast, in a sense that it helps massively with the communication side of things. So I know that I can't speak for everyone, but I know that I did really struggle with the communication side of things at first within teams, because you can't just shout at someone across the room. And I would, I'm that annoying person who walks to the desk, door shut, I'd be walking in. So you can't just do that anymore. And I'd be waiting, and I'm quite my boss always says, Sophie, just take a chill pill, sort of thing. And it's like, I just want someone it done straight away. But you can't do that. So you've got to wait, and, people are in meetings and whatever else. So I did struggle with that at first. So I think having these sort of tools available to me immediately, and it's a bit of self-learning in a sense. I think I could have really done with that in the pandemic, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's just one of these tools that proves that Microsoft is always just thinking ahead, and somehow they're ahead of the curve. Teams was there right at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone needed it, and now this is kind of like the first employee experience actually built in the pandemic. So it's gonna be suited to this new hybrid way of working, right?
Yeah.
I think that you mentioned the word template when you were speaking just now, and I completely agree that it's this lovely templated format, makes it super beginner friendly. Like we were saying, we've got people that are kind of new to the cloud, new to intranet. They need that kind of helping hand.
Yeah.
And I think that so in terms of Viva Connections, a well-developed intranet is a key part of the employee experience, and that onboarding as well that you were talking about. But insights as well. I think that this idea that the holistic experience of your employee and looking after that side is just so important, and in a really black and white way, it's also super vital for retention. If you're looking after your employees, you're going to hold on to them, aren't you?
Yeah. I think as well, I think it is important for it to go right. Is if you do have the right training and you do utilize everything that it has to offer, because it could easily be one of them things that people just get and just don't really do much with and don't see the value of it, or just don't use it, utilize it in the best possible way and drive that adoption that it's actually got. So I think it's an absolutely great tool with the right training, and I do think it's amazing for driving teams forward and being a big part of a business.
Well, this is where a consultancy service comes in, like ourselves, I guess. And, you use our team of experienced consultants to say, hey, this is exactly how you should use, Viva Topics, and this is what it can show you. And, hey, did you know that Viva Learning does this, and I think that pairing those two, good consultancy work with the new product is just an amazing way to leverage your pandemic data, really, and move forward into the future.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you.
All right. Well, I think we can wrap up there. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
No worries. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, and your very first guest, so it was an absolute pleasure. And
to go down in history.
Yeah, probably have you back very soon. Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
That concludes our first episode of Konsolute's podcast. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our conversation and learnt something new. If you've been inspired to discover more about cloud adoption and digital transformation, why not get in touch and head to our website, www.konsolute.com. Bye for now.